Hi everyone, welcome back to Coffee Books and Rain. I'm Rachel. With the last dregs of my coffee, I definitely need to go and make some more. Um, it has been a bit of a day, but we are diving into Loving Spirits at the Vintage Teashop. And it says a heartwarming, cozy, romantical novel with, with a magical twist. Now that's what Goodreads says as the title. Sorry. But I do believe it's Loving Spirits at the Vintage Tea Shop by Sharon Booth. Now, when I first picked this up, I did not realize this was a book number 2. And even looking at the Goodreads right now, still did not realize that this was a book number 2 until I started reading it. And of course, as you kind of flip through the ebook pages, it's like, oh, this is book number 2. And I'm like, wait a minute, since when? So, so I am just letting you all know that this is book number 2. Now, I will have to figure out which book number 2 it is. So we're going to go dive into Miss Sharon Booth's About the Author little series real quick, and we're going to see which I wonder if it's her kindred spirits. Oh, Ghost of Rowan Vale. I guess that makes sense. Ghosts of Rowan Vale. Because this would be book number 2 of the Ghost of Rowan Vale. So there we go. Well, I didn't know, and actually to even look at Goodreads right now, you wouldn't really know either. But I wanted to share that with you before we dove in. This book is expected publication on June 25th of 2025, and it's approximately 349 pages in the Kindle edition. Now, I'm going to question that because when I pulled it up, I actually made a note on my little list, and I noted that my edition was 283 pages. And I don't think my font in my Kindle or my NetGalley e-reader was all that small. So to kind of be about, 75-ish pages shorter? I'm not sure. But let us dive into the summary. An enchanting, cozy romance with a magical twist, perfect for fans of Lucy Jane Wood and the hit BBC series Ghost. The beautiful Cotswold village of Rowanvale is run as a living museum, allowing tourists to see history in action. But there's more to the place than any visitor would have guessed. I'm getting so tongue-tied today. I am not sure. 50-something Shona grew up in the village and now runs its vintage 1940s themed tea shop. Not everyone knows that the previous manager, her great-aunt Polly, still lives there too, as a ghost. When newcomer Max arrives, hoping to find out more about the place where his German grandfather was a prisoner of war, both Shona and Polly are unsettled. Shona, because handsome, interesting Max is the first man to catch her eye since her divorce, and Polly, because she must finally confront the terrible truth about her past. A 1940s themed weekend planned for the village brings the family's connections to a head and tragic secrets to light. Can Shona help her ghostly great aunt to find love and forgiveness once more, while also creating her own happily ever after? The second in the comforting, feel-good, romantic series with a dash of fantasy that started with Kindred Spirits at Harling Hall. Praise for Sharon Booth's Ghosts of Rowan Vale. So, I won't read you the reviews for Ghosts of Rowan Vale, which would be book number 1. I will only let you know that apparently book number 1 is called Kindred Spirits at Harling Hall, and the series itself is called Ghosts of Rowan Vale. So these are cozy mystery, and this particular book does not have what I would call a murder in it. The murder happened in the past, and I would say substantially in the past, because we have the ghost of Polly, who wanders around, who passed away in, I believe it's the 1940s, who, I mean, it is no longer the 1940s, so let's just say that. So she's been dead a while. We're not technically solving her murder, but we're kind of getting some clarity on it, I guess, on some of the situation around it. And we're not really putting her spirit to rest. Polly doesn't really plan on going anywhere. Her family knows she's there. Shona knows she's there. Shona's father knows she's there. And other members of the community who can see ghosts also know she's there. So the town is of Rowan Vale. Know that the town has resident ghosts. So one of the specific kind of reasonings for Rowan Vale to have the management or ownership that it does is the owner, I guess one of the bylaws of ownership for Rowan Vale is the owner must be able to see and communicate with the resident spirits of Rowan Vale. Well, I guess it seems as though as the previous tenants or the previous owner's lineage could no longer see or connect or communicate with the ghost. And an outsider, funny enough, her name is Callie, she came to visit and stayed because she was able to see and communicate with these ghosts. However, where everybody was really worried about her coming in and changing things, maybe not being as invested as the locals, she was absolutely invested and loved everything the way the locals did. So there's not a lot of concern with Callie trying to, change things for the sake of change. It still worries some people, still worries even some of the ghosts because she's an outsider, but for the most part, everyone is kind of okay with the way things are going. So my personal thinking, because I didn't read the first book, is we must have had a lot of that particular backstory happening in book one. That must have been what was going on in the one called Harling Hall. So again, when I picked this book up, I didn't see any reference to a first book. Even when I first clicked on Goodreads, usually it'll kind of say book 2 in series. It didn't say it right off. So it wasn't until I started flipping through the pages of the ebook that I actually saw book 2 of Ghost of Rowan Vale. So that was it was a little bit of a surprise, so I didn't get the backstory for that. I don't feel like it's necessary. I don't feel like it's necessary to fully understand what's going on in this book. But in this particular book, the Shona she's running the Teashop. She is the manager. Now, some people would like to call her the owner of the Teashop, but I guess Callie is kind of really the owner of everything. She's a proprietress over everything. And Shona is the manager of the Teashop, and I don't think anybody really minds so much. But she has kind of posed this thought that they should do like a 1940s themed weekend where people kind of dress up the fronts of their stores, kind of like they're preparing for, I think it's World War II, kind of tape up their windows, kind of maybe they could do hairstyles, maybe they could dress like that, maybe they could do various things, but even her great aunt Polly could give some inspiration. Her great aunt Polly, who's passed, who is a ghost, could give some inspiration of what things look like around that time. It just so happens that Max, who comes to visit to find his daughter Rissa, he has connections to the area for other reasons. And let's just say his grandfather, Rissa's great grandfather, was apparently a prisoner of war in this particular area, and had either told Max on his deathbed, or told someone on his deathbed, maybe leaving a journal of some sort, about how it sounds as though how bad this area was. I don't know. Maybe either how bad he was treated or something. So Max has come to not only bring his daughter home, like, how dare you, like, work here, but also to find out the truth. And it just seems at odds with the way these other people are, like, the people of this town are. It just seems so picturesque. It seems so very kind and kind of like a Thomas Kincaid painting, with just like all this absolutely adorable stuff and vintage tea shops and things of that nature. So it's really hard to kind of justify the way he's got things in his brain to the way things seem to be right now. However, Shona seems to have this little bit of a crush on Max. Like, the very first time she sees him, there's some sort of pull towards Max. Like, she is like stumbling over her words, and she is like telling him way too much. And he just came into the tea shop because he was going to meet his daughter for lunch, but she is just blah 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 blah. She's just, oh my goodness. And it's just so cute. Like, come on, girl. Like, get yourself together. Like, he must be adorable. I don't even know. Like, some sort of silver fox in his 50s. Like, there are some very attractive men in Hollywood in their 50s. Like, I absolutely agree with that. But Polly, the ghostly great aunt, I believe is who she is. Yes. When she first sees Max, something in her kind of freezes, and it triggers her memory of what happened to her the night she was shot in the back. And so we start to kind of get the whole story of really what happened to Polly. Like, well, we don't get it right off the bat. Like, it starts to unfold from that moment. And so it really is quite a sad and tragic story. The ghosts are really the center of this narrative, and it is so cool to have them be the center of this book. So I really love that. I do want to go back and read the other one to find out more about the ghosts at Harling Hall. It seems as though after that book, the two ghosts that seem to be in resident at Harling Hall don't really come out as much. And it is mentioned in this one that I don't think they're at peace. They just don't wander as much anymore. So I'm just kind of curious. I want to know more about those ghosts so we can find out more about them. I think we still have some ghosts in residence in Rowan Vale after even Aunt Polly to explore. There does seem to be a reverend as well as others. So I'm very intrigued by this book, and I wonder if in the first book we find out like the number of ghosts. Because this book we kind of hint at a few, but I don't feel like we got an official number of how many are around. So, but I can picture this being like that cozy mystery series. We don't always have to solve their murders, I can't imagine. But maybe some of them have some unfinished business or want to do a little bit of like sleuthing, or maybe we uncover some treasures from the past. That could be incredibly cool. I did find that the connections to World War II, in Germany versus the blackouts and such in the UK, to be a very intriguing storyline in this particular one. it got, again, this particular person says we got some insight into life in Rowan Vale during World War II. Of course, heartbreak as well, and the things that followed, and how it still echoes into current, like into what's happening currently. I do not know if this book is supposed to take place in like 2025 or whether it's taking place in like 1990. I don't really know because I don't really know the timeline. That was something I really wasn't certain. But nevertheless, I really liked the cozy mystery vibes. Personally, kind of low stakes because we didn't have to find a body and we weren't really worried about finding more bodies. So if you want to take it like that, we were uncovering the past. We may have some people's present affected by the things that we uncover from the past. So, but I think sometimes we have to, make sure that we uncover the truth in order to put things right. So I liked it. If you like history, and I can't say to what level, of course, this is any sort of realistic history, but is it potentially realistic fiction? Sure. There is a level of realistic fiction within it. Of course, if you believe in ghosts, then absolutely. But cozy, nostalgic, and quite fun. So what more do you need when you're picking up a cozy mystery? Yeah. So with all of that being said, I do hope you'll give it a chance. I need to go back and read the other one. And yeah, pick up Loving Spirits at the Vintage Teashop. And I'm going to dive back into Sharon Booth's Rowan Vale series. And I'm looking forward to whatever book comes out as a third one in this series, because we're definitely going to have some more. But with all of that being said, I want to thank you so much for joining me on this journey. And I'll see you guys on the next page. Have a great one. Bye.